Rude.
I thought I'd save any meaningful 1999 discussion until after the release of the Echoes update. That way the video can be more comprehensive and relevant. In the meantime, let's discuss Nyx. She got a rework recently, which was great. It pulled her out of the dumpster that her outdated abilities put her in, and has been a lot of fun to play. That being said, she still kinda sucks, and I want to talk to you today about why. Let's start with Mind Control, Nyx's first ability. Mind Control is one of two abilities that allows Nyx to deal damage, the other being Absorb. Not only that, it largely contributes to the damage output of Absorb as of her rework. The problem is, it kinda stinks. The stun animation on the cast makes it hard to hit weak points for bonus damage, and the ability's effectiveness is also at the full mercy of the AI. Despite the changes to said AI, you can still lose a fair amount of DPS when the Mind Control target needlessly changes position. Although, these are minor gripes. The biggest issue I have with this ability is actually its augment mod. Alright, so let's talk about Mind Freak. This is easily one of the worst augments in the entire game, and the change it received with 1999 did it no favours. I genuinely don't mean any offence to DE here, but this was the laziest possible change they could have made. It went from a stat boost to a slightly higher stat boost. That is not at all what an augment mod should be. And yes, I know many augment mods suffer from this, but that doesn't justify Mind Freak being the same. Besides, this video is focused on Nyx. Mind Freak does not alter its corresponding ability in any meaningful way, instead acting as a band-aid for Mind Control's poor damage scaling. Fortunately, there's a very easy fix. I've come up with a redesign for Mind Freak that makes it work fantastically. Let me explain. Currently, Mind Freak grants the Mind Control target plus 1000% damage, plus 25% movement speed, and plus 25% attack speed. These all scale with strength. Considering they don't change the ability in any meaningful way, they should just be incorporated into the base ability. The augment mod itself should allow Nyx to Mind Control 2, 3, 4, or 5 enemies. This maximum would scale with the rank of the augment mod itself. But the drawback to this would be that the ability's duration is halved. This revised version of the augment actually changes the way in which the Mind Control works, and logically, it tracks quite well. Instead of focusing her power over the mind onto one enemy, she is able to divvy it across a small group of enemies. But mind controlling multiple enemies is more taxing, so she isn't able to hold that control as long as she usually can. Duration is the best stat to have as a drawback because it weakens the ability in some capacity, but not in a way that compromises it. Less strength would drop too much damage, less range would make mind control targets too difficult to coordinate, and less efficiency would make it almost impossible to keep the ability active, especially considering blind rage would be needed for how much strength it provides. I think this would make a perfect augment for Mind Control and should have been what Mind Freak got changed into for the 1999 rework. What we got didn't deliver on how powerful and fun this ability could be. You'd think the Mind Control themed frame could be able to Mind Control more than one guy. I mean, Eleanor does exactly that during the Hex quest, so I don't know why this augment got dealt such a pathetic hand. Anyway, I want to know what you guys think of this idea, or if you have any Mind Control augment ideas of your own. If you like this idea, please consider leaving a reply and a like on the post I made on the forum. That gives the post a better chance of being seen by the developers. Help me make real change for the sake of this Warframe. Pablo, if you're watching, make it happen, man. Now, let's talk about what is probably the most controversial mechanic in all of Warframe. You know, at first, I didn't really get the hate for OVERGUARD, but that was because I didn't have experience with crowd control frames. With the arrival of Eleanor, I've been playing a lot of Nyx, and dude, let me tell ya, fuck OVERGUARD and the Angels of Zariman it rode in on. It is so damn tedious trying to shoot at an enemy's OVERGUARD so I can mind control them, only for them to die immediately because they're squishy as hell underneath the OVERGUARD. The icing on the cake is that alongside Nyx's rework, infested ancients can now give every single enemy regenerating OVERGUARD. Yep, because that's really what's going to help Nyx, yep. Making her first and third ability useless, that's great. That's awesome. That's really good. To the damage frames, it's another health bar to shoot through. For crowd controlled frames, it's tedium and frustration. Get it out of the game. Give Xmas units damage attenuation with weak points, I don't know, anything else. I get that Warframe's meta is just killing things mindlessly and instantaneously. The mindless killing isn't the issue. The issue is that there's no other fun way to play when you get to higher level content where OVERGUARD is present. One of the best parts of this game is the freedom to choose how you want to do something. You can choose how to tank, how to deal damage, how to generate energy, and how to armor strip. So then why is there only one way to deal with enemies? It's only fair that crowd control is as viable an option as dealing damage. The best way to have that is to throw OVERGUARD in the trash. Moving on. This issue doesn't bother me nearly as much as Mindfreak or OVERGUARD, but it's one I need to talk about just as much. For the sake of consistency, Nyx's unique confusion effect was replaced with radiation status effect confusion, which is functionally identical. And I commend this decision. A change like this helps to make the game just a little bit more streamlined. But there's still a problem here, and that problem is twofold. Let me explain. Radiation status effect should not be confusion. That just makes no sense thematically. Fortunately, your favourite Warframe YouTuber, MuchVery, has another solution up his sleeve. I know, I'm amazing. With 1999, we got Site 09, the Vesper 77, and the Acuity mods. What do all these have in common? They work best when you shoot for weak points. So, why shouldn't radiation be the same? Instead of spreading confusion, radiation status effect causes tumours to grow on the enemies, which act as weak points that can be attacked for bonus damage. Remember just a moment ago when I said there should be multiple ways of doing something? Well, if Banshee's sonar can create weak points, it's fair to extend that mechanic to a status effect. This just works so much better both in gameplay and in theme. That brings us to the second half of this problem. Regardless of what radiation does, it feels wrong to have Nyx be the one that inflicts and spreads it. She's a mind control frame, not a radiation frame. Once again, there's a very easy solution for this. How does he keep coming up with this stuff? I think I'm just gifted. Anyway, if you were around when Komei and the Five Fates launched, you'll remember Caliban's rework. His abilities were changed to inflict tower damage and status, being the first, and currently only, Warframe to ever wield this damage type. Why don't we apply the same principle to Nyx and give her a unique confusion damage type? The damage can be neutral to all health types, like tower damage, but the status effect would be to cause enemies to fire at all targets without discrimination. This way, Nyx's theme of mind manipulation isn't compromised. Adding a new damage type could be argued as more convoluted than what we already have. But keep in mind that radiation on Nyx doesn't make sense, and radiation shouldn't be doing what it does anyway. And of course, Caliban demonstrates that DE is okay with a frame uniquely wielding a damage type. Really, I think this just helps to make both Nyx and radiation, for lack of a better phrase, function more logically. Well, there you have it. Those are the ways in which, despite her rework, Nyx still kind of sucks as a Warframe. Mind Control and especially Mindfreak have disappointing limitations, OVERGUARD kneecaps her alongside all other CC frames, and Radiation's presence on Nyx compromises her theme, while compromising its own. I really don't know why the Nyx rework was so shallow. The Nova rework and Site 09 himself are proof that achieving perfect balance in Warframe is a lost cause. Just let Nyx be strong. In a PvE game, making more characters powerful only benefits the player by giving them more to choose from. I think the problems I've highlighted in this video are quite valid, and I think the suggestions I've offered would work well to improve Nyx, radiation, and the viability of crowd control. That last one had a very straightforward solution, but it's an effective one. What do you guys think of Nyx after her rework, and what do you think of these suggestions to improve her and other aspects of the game? Let's discuss it in the comments. With that being said, thank you very much for watching, and until next time. And to all the Limbo mains out there, I wish you the best of luck because you are damn well gonna fucking need it.